Hi, I'm Jennifer Levy from Cov Design and the Design Coach series. Today we're going to walk through how to make a floor plan, which is really important if you're redoing a space, putting furniture in it like you might do in a living room or bedroom, or redoing a kitchen, which we're eventually going to be doing here. You need to know exactly what's there to start with, whether it's pipes, radiators, plumbing, architectural details, and things like that. So we're going to walk through and draw a floor plan together. The first thing you have to do is make an overall sketch of the room and just show where the walls are, where the windows are located, and any other architectural details that are important. You don't have to worry at this point about how it looks or making the proportions right. You just want to get all of the ins and outs on your paper so you can measure them. Once you have your sketch done, you can start your measuring. And I always start in a corner of the room, so I'm going to start over here. A little hard to get to. And it's 19 inches to this part of the window, and I'm just going to write that down. Then I'm going to measure this part, and it's 9.5 inches. And I'm going to draw a little arrow because that helps me keep track of which measurements go with which walls. And you just keep doing that around the room until you come back to where you started. Once you've measured all of the individual walls, it's a good idea to do an overall measurement of the room. So I usually try to do it on the floor, but if I can't, like because there's a counter here, I'll measure the counter, then I'll add it up with the floor measurement, and I'll make a note of the overall width and depth of the room. And that's a good way to catch any mistakes you might have made with your individual wall measurements. You'll also need to make a note of where the existing electrical outlets are, and I usually measure that right to the center of the outlet. And I make a note of what kind of outlet it is and also how far off the ground it is. One of the reasons why it's important to do a floor plan is because you want to check your door swings and you want to make sure that things aren't going to crash into each other. So for example, you want to make sure that your refrigerator's not going to hit your kitchen island when the door is open. You're going to want to make sure that when your oven's open, you can still use your dishwasher, things like that. And it's a lot better to work that out on the floor plan rather than discovering it once you already have everything installed in your kitchen. The next thing I do is I look for where the plumbing is located, and the most important thing is the drain, because the other pipes can be moved, but the drain is really in the wall. So get out your flashlights and take a look. When I have a window, the most important thing I do is show how far off the ground it is, and if there's a sill, I don't include that in the measurement, because the sill, unless you're planning on taking it out, reduces the usable space. So you don't want to have cabinetry bumping up against the sill or furniture bumping up against the sill. And the same holds true for window casing. This doesn't actually have window casing, but when there's window casing, we don't want cabinetry going in front of the window casing or furniture going in front of the window casing. With radiators, I do basically the same thing. What you want to do is figure out how much they're reducing your usable space. So you want to see how far away from the wall they come, right? Where they start, including any knobs or things that are sticking out. And if there's anything like the feed pipe on the bottom or the valve, you also want to show exactly where that is and how much space it takes up. If you have base molding, you want to show how high off the floor it comes and also estimate how far away from the wall it comes as well. Now that we've gone through the process of doing a floor plan, you can see that it's not that difficult. It doesn't take any special skills, and you don't have to have a good spatial sense or anything like that. You just need to be systematic and be careful with your measuring. There's an old carpenter's phrase that I think of often, which is measure twice, cut once. So if you take that approach with all of your measurements, I'm sure you're going to do a great job. So let's get out our tape measures, our pencils, and our paper and get measuring.